She knew he was dying, and still chose to marry him. Everyone called it a mistake. But what happened inside that quiet cabin, on the night his breath began to fade, was something no one could have imagined. A love that grew stronger as time slipped away. A moment that changed everything. Stay with me, because the ending will leave you silent. Before we dive into the incredible story, do not forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell button so you never miss our powerful, life-changing content. Thank you for listening to this heartfelt story. If it moved you, share it, comments below, and let someone know you are never alone. The wind carried dust across the quiet frontier road. Tasted like iron and memory. I remember the first time I saw him. Standing alone, hat low, eyes tired in a way that spoke of endings. Something inside me shifted. Not fear, not doubt, recognition. They told me his time was already slipping through his hands, like sand that refused to stay. I listened. Then I walked toward him anyway. The day I married him, the sky felt too wide, too bright, almost cruel. My hands trembled in his, not from regret, but from the weight of knowing. Every second mattered. Every breath held meaning. His smile that day felt fragile and infinite. We built a life between sunrises and quiet evenings. Simple things, shared bread, soft laughter, the brush of his fingers against mine as if memorizing, always memorizing. Then came the moment that shattered the calm. A sharp cough in the stillness of dawn. Too loud, too sudden. The kind that froze the air itself. I felt it before I understood it. A deep ache in my chest. His body leaned against the doorway. Weaker than yesterday. Stronger than fate. I rushed to him. My senses flooded. The smell of dry wood. The sound of wind pressing against the walls. His breath uneven. His eyes searching mine. Not for fear, for peace. And I gave it. Every ounce of it. Through touch, through silence, through love that refused to measure itself in time. That moment changed everything. Not because it broke me, but because it revealed the truth I had chosen. Love never asked how long, only how deeply. And in that fragile, trembling space between breath and stillness, I held him closer, feeling his heartbeat against mine, counting nothing, fearing nothing, knowing only that this love, this fierce, quiet, endless love, was still unfolding, still burning, still becoming. The fire cracked softly beside us. Golden light danced across his face, flickering, fading, beautiful. I kept my hand over his heart, feeling each beat like a whispered promise. Low, careful, still here. Outside, the wind pressed harder against the cabin walls. A low, restless sound, like the world waiting, watching. I leaned closer, my cheek against his chest, warmth fading in quiet degrees, yet still enough to hold on to. He lifted his hand, barely, fingers brushing my hair, a touch so light it almost felt imagined. Almost. Stay, I whispered. Not a plea. A truth I poured into the air between us. His breath answered, uneven, but present. Closed my eyes. Let every sense carve this moment into me. The scent of smoke, the rough wood beneath my knees, the fragile rhythm beneath my palm. Time slowed, then stretched, then twisted into something I could feel but never name. Sudden shift. His body tensed. Sharp. Unexpected. A breath caught halfway. The silence that followed felt louder than any storm. My heart slammed against my ribs. I lifted my head, met his eyes, endless, searching for something beyond pain, beyond this room, beyond me, and still holding me there, right there. I tightened my grip on his hand, as if strength could travel through skin, as if love could anchor him here. The fire snapped, a spark rising fast into the dark, gone in an instant. His chest rose again, low, trained, but still fighting, still choosing. I felt it then, not fear, something deeper, a quiet knowing that this moment held everything, every sunrise we shared, every laugh that lingered too long, every unspoken word now pressing against my lips. I leaned closer, our foreheads touching, breath mingling, world narrowing to this fragile space. "I am here," I said softly, "and I meant forever." His fingers curled faintly against mine. Response, a thread of connection refusing to break. The wind outside howled louder now, rattling the door, shaking the frame, as if the world itself tried to pull him away. But I held on, not with force, with love, steady, unyielding. His breathing shifted again, a rhythm unfamiliar, uneasy, each second stretching longer than the last. I felt the change before I understood it. Slipping, a drifting, a quiet movement toward something unseen. My chest tightened, air growing heavy, the room closing in. Yet I stayed, unmoving, unwavering, because this was the promise I chose. Not days, not years. This moment, this breath, this love that refused to measure itself in endings. His lips parted slightly, a word forming, or maybe only a breath searching for shape. I leaned closer, closer still, holding on to that fragile space between us, where something remained unsaid, yet deeply understood, and still waiting, still trembling, still alive. His breath brushed my lips, faint, warm, carrying something fragile between sound and silence. Held still, afraid even the air might break it. His eyes softened, not distant, not fading, clear in a way that felt almost unbearable, as if he saw everything, every moment we had lived, every second still clinging to us. The word slipped out, barely there, yet it struck through me like thunder. I leaned closer, my fingers tightening around his. The fire dimmed behind us, shadows growing longer, stretching across the walls like quiet witnesses. "I chose you," he breathed, each syllable fragile, each one heavy with meaning. My chest ached, not from sorrow, from the depth of it, from the truth we stood inside. "I know," I whispered, my voice steady, even as everything inside me trembled. His hand shifted again, fingers pressing weakly into my palm, still reaching, still holding. Inside something cracked, branch, sharp, sudden. The sound cut through the night. My body flinched, a jolt of cold fear rising fast. The world felt too close, too loud, too real. I turned my head for a second. Darkness pressed against the window, endless, unmoving. Then I felt it, change beneath my hand, subtle, but undeniable. His heartbeat stumbled, not stopping, shifting, like a rhythm losing its path. My breath caught, a sharp, painful pull in my chest. "No!" The word escaped before I could hold it back. Not denial, a reaction to the sudden weight of the moment. I turned back to him, closer, desperate to meet his eyes again. And they were there, still open, still searching. But something deeper moved behind them now. Quiet distance, a horizon I could almost see. I pressed my forehead to his, holding him inside every sense I had. The warmth of his skin, the uneven rise of his chest, the fragile thread still connecting us. "You are here," I whispered again, more firmly, more fiercely, as if the words could anchor him, as if love could hold back the inevitable pull. His breath came slower now, long pauses between each one, the silence stretching, heavy, every second echoing inside me. I counted without meaning to, not numbers, moments, fragments, pieces of a life that felt both endless and too brief. His fingers twitched again, final effort, or another beginning. I held tighter, refusing to let even that small movement fade unnoticed. The fire gave a low sigh, embers collapsing inward, a glow instead of flame. Fading, still warm, just like him, just like us. My heart pounded louder, filling the spaces his breath left behind, as if I could share it, as if I could carry us both. His lips moved again, no sound this time, only the shape of something unspoken, something I felt rather than heard. I leaned in, close enough to feel the last traces of warmth between us, holding on to that silent confession that lived beyond words, beyond breath, beyond the fragile edge where he still lingered, and something inside him, still reaching, still resisting, still here, still here. The words echoed inside me, not spoken, felt like a pulse that refused to fade. I stayed pressed against him, breathing with him, matching every fragile rise, every trembling fall. The space between breaths grew longer, stretching thin, like thread pulled too far. Yet it held, somehow it held. My fingers traced the back of his hand, cold beginning to settle there, quiet, unforgiving. I rubbed warmth into his skin, slow circles, a silent promise to fight the stillness creeping in. Stay with me, I murmured. Steady, carrying everything I had left to give. His chest lifted again, barely, but enough to keep hope alive. The wind outside softened for a moment, as if the world paused, listening, waiting. Inside, the fire dimmed further, a low glow clinging to life. Just like him, just like us. His eyes shifted, finding mine again. There was something new there, not fear, not pain, something deeper, acceptance wrapped in love. It struck me harder than anything before. Quiet shock, unsettling, 'cause I understood it instantly. He felt the edge, and still chose peace. My chest tightened, a sharp ache spreading through every breath. I wanted to pull him back, to hold him here by force. But love never worked that way. Love held. It never chained. So I softened, even as everything inside me resisted, even as my heart cried out in silence. I am here, I said again. Wow, truth. A shelter for whatever came next. His lips curved slightly. The faintest echo of a smile broke me and healed me at the same time. His fingers pressed once more into mine, weaker now, but certain, a final thread of connection tightening between us. Sudden stillness, too sudden, too complete, the kind that made the air itself feel wrong. My breath hitched, my senses sharpened all at once. The creak of the wood, the distant cry of wind returning, the fading crackle of embers, everything louder, everything too clear. I looked at him, searching, waiting for the next breath, the next movement. Nothing. Second passed, then another. Time stretched into something unbearable. My hand pressed harder against his chest, feeling, listening, begging for that rhythm to rise again. Flicker, faint, and steady, but real. Relief crashed through me. Dark, overwhelming. He was still there, still fighting, still choosing this moment with me. Tears blurred my vision, hot against the cold settling around us. I leaned down again, closer than before, my voice barely more than breath. We are not finished, I whispered. And I believed it, not because time promised more, but because love refused to end here. His chest rose once more, fragile, beautiful, a breath that carried everything we had lived, and everything still hanging between us, unspoken, unfinished, and still holding on, and still holding on. I felt it in the smallest shift beneath my palm, a stubborn rhythm, uneven, yet alive, bent closer, close enough to hear the faint whisper of air leaving his lips, each breath thinner now, drawn from somewhere deep, somewhere far beyond strength. The room seemed to tilt, walls pressing inward, light shrinking into shadows that clung to every corner. My senses sharpened again, too sharp, the scrape of my sleeve against the floor, the dry taste of fear at the back of my throat, the trembling in my own hands. I steadied them against him, grounded myself in his presence, in his warmth that refused to disappear all at once. You are not alone, I whispered. The words steadied me as much as him. His chest rose, held there for a second too long. My heart pounded hard, loud in my ears, drowning everything else. Breath released, low, shaking, closed my eyes. Relief and dread twisting together inside me. Time no longer moved forward. Folded. Collapsed into this single moment. This fragile space where everything balanced. His fingers shifted again. Faint pull against mine. As if he tried to anchor himself. Or anchor me. I tightened my hold, refusing to let that connection slip into silence. The fire gave one last crack. A soft collapse of glowing wood. Darkness deepened around us. Only embers now. Only the quiet glow of something almost gone. A sudden chill brushed across my skin. Dark. Unnatural. The door creaked slightly behind me. A thin line of cold air slipping through. I turned just enough to see it. Barely open. Moving. Low. Uninvited. My breath caught. A flicker of unease rising fast. The world outside felt closer now. Too close. As if something unseen waited just beyond the threshold. I turned back to him quickly. Fear dissolving into urgency. Into the need to stay with him. Only him. His eyes were still on me. Focused. Yet distant in a way that made my chest tighten. Like he stood at the edge of something vast. Something calling him forward. No, I breathed. Not refusal. A quiet protest against the pull I could not see. His lips parted again. A breath forming. Or a word trying to exist. I leaned closer. Closer than before. As if I could catch it before it vanished. His breath touched my cheek. Faint. Breaking. My heart surged forward. Desperate. Willing him to stay. To remain in this fragile space with me. His chest lifted once more. Higher this time. Sudden, unexpected strength. Hope flared inside me. Bright. Dangerous. Sharp pause. Everything stopped. There. Sound. Even my own breath. The silence pressed hard against my ears. Heavy. Unforgiving. I searched his face. Every line. Every shadow. Waiting for movement. For life to rise again. Seconds stretched into something endless. My hand trembled against his chest. Feeling. Listening. Refusing to accept the stillness settling there. Faint flutter. So soft I almost missed it. But it was there. A fragile return. A quiet defiance against the silence. Tears slipped down my face. Unnoticed. Unstoppable. I leaned into him again. Holding him within every sense I had left. Feeling that delicate rhythm fighting to remain. Caught between fading and staying. Between letting go and holding on. And in that trembling space. He was still here. Still reaching. Still choosing. Still choosing. The words settled deep inside me. Heavy. Unshakable. I pressed my hand firmer against his chest. Guarding that fragile rhythm. As if my touch could shield it from whatever waited beyond. His breath came again. Uneven. Pulled through effort that shook his whole body. I felt every tremor. Every quiet struggle. It moved through me like a storm I refused to escape. The cold from the open door crept farther into the room. Sliding across the floor. Climbing slowly toward us. I could feel it now against my back. Dark. Intrusive. The air changed. Thinner. Heavier. As if something unseen pressed into the space we shared. I turned my head slightly. The door stood wider now. Just enough to let darkness spill inside. Endless. Waiting. Chill ran through me. Not fear alone. Something deeper. A knowing without shape. I faced him again. Refusing to let anything pull my focus away. His eyes remained locked on mine. But they flickered now. Like a flame struggling against wind. Stay here, I whispered. My voice steadier than I felt. You stay with me. His fingers tightened faintly. Response. Promise. Or a farewell trying to disguise itself as strength. His chest rose again. Slower this time. Longer. Each breath stretched thin across time itself. I counted them without numbers. Only feeling. Only presence. The fire behind us sank lower. Embers fading into dull red. The last warmth in the room slipping quietly away. My heartbeat filled the silence again, loud, relentless, as if trying to carry both of us forward. Suddenly, his body jerked, sharp, unexpected. A breath caught high in his chest, strained, breaking. My heart lurched violently. I leaned over him, my hands searching, holding, anchoring. "I am here," I said again, fiercer now, pushing the words into him, into the moment, into whatever force tried to take him from me. His lips parted wide, air struggled in, then stalled. The silence that followed felt wrong, too deep, too final. My senses flared. The wind outside roared back to life. The door creaked louder, a hollow sound that echoed through the cabin. I felt the shift again beneath my hand. His heartbeat faltered, flipping, fading into something I could barely catch. "No," the word escaped raw and low. Pressed closer, my ear against his chest, listening, searching for that rhythm, for any sign of him still fighting. Faint pulse, broken, but present. Relief surged through me, sharp enough to hurt. I lifted my head, met his eyes again. They were dimmer now, yet still holding something strong, something unyielding. Love, pure, undeniable. I wrapped my arms around him, holding him close, as if I could keep him here through sheer will, through the force of everything we had become together. His breath returned, barely there, but it brushed against my neck. A fragile reminder. He remained, still here, still suspended in that delicate space between staying and leaving, between silence and breath, between the fading light and the darkness pressing closer. And I held him tighter, feeling that last fragile thread stretch, yet refused to break, as he lingered, still fighting, still choosing. The wind softened, not gone, only gentler, like the world itself had learned to breathe with us. I stayed wrapped around him, my cheek against his chest, listening, waiting. That fragile rhythm slowed again, not breaking, not fighting, simply easing, like a tide pulling back after a long, restless storm. His fingers moved once more in mine, not weak this time, certain. Quiet goodbye wrapped in warmth. I lifted my head. His eyes met mine, clear, peaceful. No distance now, no struggle, only love settled and complete. "I am here," I whispered. And this time the words felt different. Not a plea, promise fulfilled. His lips curved into the softest smile, the kind that holds a lifetime inside it. Final breath, low, gentle, released like a sigh of relief. No tension followed, no sharp stillness, only quiet, sacred. I pressed my forehead to his, tears falling freely now, not wild, not breaking, steady, full of everything we had shared. The fire behind us faded into ash. The first pale light of dawn slipped through the open door, soft gold touching his face, warming what time could no longer hold. And in that moment I understood. Love never lived in the number of days. It lived in presence, in choosing someone fully, even when the ending stood in plain sight. I had married a man the world was already losing, yet I never lost him, because every second we held became eternal in its depth. Closed my eyes, breathing in the quiet, letting the pain and the peace exist together, side by side, cool, honest. Then I spoke softly into the morning light. For anyone who fears loving deeply because time feels uncertain, choose it anyway. Love bravely, love fully, because a short love lived with truth and tenderness will always outshine a lifetime left untouched. I held his hand a little longer, feeling the warmth fade into memory, yet never into absence, because what we built in those fragile moments remained steady, endless, and quietly alive within me.